It's actually great to have so many friends, family, business colleagues, clients, former staff, those representing the Hong Kong government, you name it, ministers, amazing group of people here. It's actually very humbling, so many people in marketing, press. It's actually quite humbling to have everyone here. So I really want to say thank you and welcome to tonight. My goal here tonight really is to put something on so that you guys can have a great time. That's really my goal. I was saying to someone, I didn't do myself a favor because I tried not to delegate too much because I actually wanted everyone to receive and enjoy tonight. So if you saw me running around crazy, don't mind me. Where do I start? I will start by, what a lot of people haven't had the amazing imprint opportunity to meet my wife. So I'm going to ask Tanya to come up here. I would love, no one, not many, and we'll need tissues because it's going to get a bit tough and rough. So this is my wife. Don't mind the heights. It's all fine. So Tanya, in a couple of weeks, it'll be 23 years ago that she first laid eyes on me. I know, in 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Actually, the opposite.
Anyway. And if anyone wants to get to know her, you'll know she's very feisty. That happens when you're Irish. So anyway, I would like to just want everyone to be able to see and know who Tanya is, because a lot of people know about Tanya, but they've not been able to get to meet her. So I would ask, please, afterwards, go talk to her and get to know her, because she is the more colorful person off the side of the coin. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you, honey.
Thanks. All right. So, I'm quite comfortable with taking time and thinking. If anyone gets uncomfortable, relax. I'm also comfortable with getting emotional. If that makes you uncomfortable, don't worry about it. So today is the 12th of September. So today, 12th of September, 1988, 36 years ago today, I was actually quite fortunate, because 36 years ago today, my dad, and please come up, Dad. My dad brought me to Australia. So 36 years ago today, he put this young guy, me, on a plane, and the two of us came because the rest of the family were already here. And taking a very bold move to leave what he had, to come here. And his motivation, from what I remember as a young kid, was my parents were moving here so that the kids could have an opportunity. And I'm so blessed that I have learned opportunity isn't directed to self. It's through self. It's actually an opportunity to make an impact to other people. I'm so blessed that I've learned that along the way. But Dad, 36 years today. Yes. So I'm going to put you on the spot. And I'm sorry if anyone doesn't like this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. So there's impact quotes. Yeah, all sorts of things in the book. And there's a lot I've actually covered in the first chapter about my dad and some of the upbringing. But I'm going to ask you to read just one impact quote.
Witnessing my father's sacrifice and willingness to step down from a position of prestige to provide us with a chance at a better life has had a profound impact on me.
Very good. You can have that. So, it's only the start. So I would like to summarize by saying just this first point, that, we're blessed to be in a place that we have opportunity and we can take advantage of that opportunity. And we can be beaten up and we can have the worst things thrown towards us. But if we're able to just change our binoculars, change our eyes, change our glasses, to look at the situation, we can actually use and channel anything, even something as something horrific and negative. We can channel that and actually make a positive difference out there in the world, not just for oneself, but make a difference out there. So that's one part with reference to my parents coming here 36 years ago today, which is amazing. And I will also say that I'm also fortunate and blessed that as a young person, I learned that I have an opportunity not just to fill my pockets, which is something I learned as a young kid, fill my pockets, which was a way of measuring success financially. But instead, why on earth do I want to fill the pockets? And that's when I, as a teenager, I'm thankful, learned that I can actually go out there and make an impact in this world. So my impact focus, which we'll cover throughout today, hopefully, and you'll certainly read a lot about in the book, has been with me since my teenage years. So that's point number one. Point number two, for anyone taking notes, and I hope you're taking notes. So point number two, I am also quite privileged and blessed that at a very young age, in my teenage years, and I then set something up in February 2001, I set up a charitable foundation called the Destiny Foundation. And the Destiny Foundation is actually what gives me the fuel to do what I do. There are many businesses I'm involved in. I do heaps of things. Makes you wonder why, but I can actually answer the why. All of it is driven by what Destiny is about. So very concisely, I'll explain. The Destiny Foundation has 4 impact objectives. The first one, and I have no idea how I'm going to make some good headway on this, I really want to shift the dial and increase the value of the family unit. Because my view is, if I look at the statistic, it seems to be diminishing, and I am looking for people out there who can come alongside myself and create things to help lift up and boost up the value of family, because it is more than to procreate. That's the first thing. The second impact area, thank you. The second impact area is children, young kids, people, young people. 600 odd million, I could get my statistics wrong, don't make their 5th birthday every year. They don't even make it. Most of it for things that everyone in this room would have and take for granted. Most of us are very sheltered because we have so much. It's just the media tells you you don't. And the media tells you it's really tough. But we are overly rich compared to the planet. And we need to remind ourselves that. So we want to make a difference in children's lives. So we're not, Destiny Foundation is not out there to go out there and do the works, because we're not scaled for that. But instead we align with NGOs. And the current NGO we've aligned with, which we have been for a while, is called Compassion Australia. They have this amazing motto. And they say it's about helping kids from the womb to the workforce. So it's not about teaching kids. Absolutely. It's a brilliant motto. It's not about teaching kids or young people how to get, but training them, giving them the emotional, the spiritual, the health, whatever they need, but helping them grow up and be leaders in their world and their community. And that's Compassion Australia. And I'm actually great. We have Claire over here with 2 of her team. Claire's the CEO of Compassion Australia. It's one of the 4 impact areas that we focus on with Destiny Foundation. And by the way, there's millions and millions out there that we have to get to work with and make an impact. Thank you. The third impact area. I have a heart, and if you're wondering if it's through personal experience, it isn't. I have a heart for single mums. It's a tough gig being a parent as a couple. It really is tough. I doing it as a single mum, me looking at the research and studying about this, it's a tough gig. You're labeled, you don't get school hours jobs, you could be very, you could be an executive, you could be highly educated, but according to the OECD of the top 40 nations, Australia is the worst. You just drop to the lowest ranking compared to these other nations. So we want to create some programs and support single mums and help elevate them, help them with their self-image, help them with finding better paying jobs, not average, better paying jobs, help them find school hours work. Because mums play a significant role in our world. It just goes under the radar. No one knows what mums do. So, single mums is what we want to do and make an impact there. It's almost 800 to 1 million single mums in Australia. The fourth area, we want to create programs to support people who have experienced abuse in their life. In Australia, 1 to 3 million people are said to have experienced abuse. I personally think it's a lot more because most people don't go and talk about it or will never say it. And I'm talking physical, sexual, financial, you name it. There's all sorts of areas of abuse. And people walk around with that pain and that scar. And they actually end up taking it to their grave. So we want to shift and help people find their own very personal, private journey on restoration. It's a tough gig, but the more I've researched this, the statistics are crazy. There's a lot of people out there that have experienced this, and it's just not disclosed. And it leaves an impact. I've also found when someone has had abuse, it actually passes on to the next generation. That's really tough for that next generation. They end up with a view or a bias towards that challenge. So that's the fourth area. That's the Destiny Foundation. So that was my point too. So I'm actually excited to highlight that Destiny Foundation is the why to all these different things I'm doing. It's not because I have spare time at all, but it is actually the answer to the why. And I was pushed to put our impact goal on our website, which I was very hesitant, but I'm okay to say that to you. So we have a goal with the Destiny Foundation to impact 100 million lives. Now, for those of you who are wondering how on earth I can do that, I will answer this. I will see a single-digit percentage of that impact in my lifetime. I think it might take about 3 generations. But my goal is to set something up that can keep going beyond this short life that I have and most of us here, all of us here have. We only have a short time. So that's the Destiny Foundation. All right, moving on, changing gears a bit, because I think I need to pick up pace. We're celebrating 25 years of OBT, and I want to say it's actually truly humbling to just last 25 years. I have a significant amount of respect of anyone who's done something for 10 years. It's really hard. People don't want to use the word hard. You rather look like a hero, but it's super hard. And if you don't believe me, do it. It's really tough being in business. The stuff you take to bed on and the weight you carry on your shoulders, it's not light. So I feel quite humbled, really, to say, 25 years with no experience. I set out to build OBT. I had no experience. I only raised a total of $220,000 capital, which is not much if you want to fill a data center and have expensive staff. And I set it up in a garage because that's all we had. And I'm actually want to highlight, I'm so humbled that we have a lady over here, her name's Marie. Marie was OBT's very, very first customer. And I can tell you, thanks, Marie. Thank you for being here. It is exceptionally loud how much communication and a message there is from someone who says, you know what, I'm willing to step out and be the first. It does something immense that even today, 25 years later, I truly value and cherish. Because who was going to go and do something called cloud and in a garage. And like, who in their right mind would do that 25 years ago? You got to be nuts. Anyway, so thank you for trust and being our very first customer. That's an OBT. Now, I will also say this. One thing I have learned about my being able to last more than a decade, you actually have to be pretty good to reinvent yourself because you can't stay constant. Anyone who does something more than 10 years already has that spark of being able to reinvent, work around a challenge because you can't stay constant. It's at you and you need to find your edge. By the way, the book will explain that too. But that wasn't a plug. All right, now, my fourth point. All right, my fourth point. 5 years ago, we were celebrating OBT's 20th. We were on the #1 super yacht in Australia. It was amazing. Everyone wore white. It was a great event 5 years ago when we celebrated our 20th. I made a few statements about what's next, because at that point in time, I was actually trying to figure out what's next. And I made a few statements. And I said 3 things 5 years ago. One is we need to shift something in the education space. The second thing I mentioned was we're going to do something in mental wellness and shift the dial with the challenges with mental wellness. And the third thing I said 5 years ago on that boat was we're going to create digital identity security so that people are no longer vulnerable to people who leverage people's digital identities. So those 3 very simple things and very innocent things is what I mentioned 5 years ago. And today, we're actually launching InspED, which the objective of InspED, it breaks my heart when people don't fit in a box and you go to school and if you don't fit into this 60%, you just don't fit in. But I have learned in my research, the 20% on this side and the 20% on this side, they may be labeled different, spectrum, disabled, and what other fancy words. But my research has shown the world is actually changed by the people on these sides. They just learn differently. They just are not a cookie cutting output. So with InspED, we actually want to really address this element of learning where people aren't just labeled because it's easy if I just label you and then I know how to deal with you, but help people learn and consume information and be their best self and not worry about being on the spectrum or whatever other term it is. And that's our heart with InspED. The second one, mental wellness. It was a statement that was mentioned. There was no idea. There was no business name. I spent a whole year thinking about how on earth we do and what should we do and why should we do SafeWatch. And then 1 year later, we stepped out to form the team to build SafeWatch. I didn't even come up with the name. The name, Rosa picked the name. Rosa actually ran all the finance and over the couple of years, yeah, Rosa, over that time, I think she must have been scratching her head because I kept asking her, do this, and it had nothing to do with finance and her role. But she was super adaptive. She did what she had to do, plus all of this, get some research, statistics, do a business plan, etc. And we essentially birthed SafeWatch within that year. And we've launched SafeWatch last year, and we have a long way to go. I won't say the same things Cassie said, but we have a big job ahead of us. Our impact goal with SafeWatch is to impact 20 million lives, 25 million lives. We have a lot of work to do. We're here in Australia and also overseas. We're focusing on Asia. We're looking for the right partners. I'm actually privileged that so many in this room, there's a lot of our advisory council, our developers, marketing, our amazing team that actually make up SafeWatch. There's an army of volunteers that actually make up what we do at SafeWatch. So I will cover that a bit more, but I want to say that one seed or statement has come to pass, and we've actually journeyed in 5 years. And then the third point I mentioned about security. For the last the last 13 months, I've been working on something, and that is called Secure My Digital. And Secure My Digital, we've actually, over the last 13 months, created and architected a method to actually deliver to people complete peace of mind from ransomware. We've created an ability where people don't actually have to be on their knees when it comes to ransomware, corporates and governments. And our hypothesis when we created this capability, we looked, most of the marketplace was trying to protect and prevent a ransomware attack. We went extremely bold, if I was to say, and our hypothesis was, let's assume the criminal already has your data. And that's what we started. So we can go to the marketplace and say to a government customer, if the criminal has your data, you're fine. There's nothing that's going to be exposed. And while we're doing that, we ended up creating a password system that cannot be cracked, even with a quantum machine, but it's mom and dad friendly. So it's actually super exciting. So it's mom and dad friendly, as in, super exciting. So I'm looking for anyone who wants to help me on that too, because that challenge is putting companies and governments to their knees. So it's actually very exciting. That's that. Now, if only I remember my final fifth point for those who are taking notes. Yes, I mentioned also on the boat, what next? I learned that when I hit this 20 years, and I learned it after 10 years, you do something for 10 years or plus, or you in life, your identity ends up becoming trapped or embedded in that. Whether you give it permission or not, your identity gets tied to something with time. It could be tied to a house that you never moved out of for 20 years. It could be tied to, I'm CEO or whatever it is. If you do something for long enough, I learned that you see you as that. And it's very hard to separate that. So I went on this journey 5 years ago, because I learned that everyone at that time, if you said Shane, they would go OBT, and if you go OBT, they go Shane. And I was like, and I realized that's actually not my objective. It's, one is something I do, it's not actually who I am. And that process is actually what helped and led me to discover a few things, which I then have put into the book that I'll cover in the second part. My heart, though, with the book, I will say this. My goal is that when people read this, two things, that they will see themselves as very, very unique. And unique is not different. Unique is not odd. Unique is actually unique. And the more unique something is, the more valuable it is. So my goal is that people will learn that they are, number one, unique. And number two, their uniqueness is what gives you or them their edge. Because looking at people trying to copy, because a lot of people are trying to copy because someone else is more popular or they have the goods or whatever. Every person, I believe, is unique. And that's my goal with the book. And my ultimate goal is when people end up going through this, that they will be able to see themselves and go, wow, this is really a masterpiece. As in, I am a masterpiece. There's not another one like this. And the world will really miss out if I don't live my masterpiece. That's my objective. Yeah. Now, in closing, because I have no idea of my time, in closing, I will say this. You guys probably think I have all these talents, so I don't want to tell you that I'm a painter on canvas. I'm not going to tell you that. But I would like to take a moment and unveil a masterpiece. Jeez, can anyone even see my face? Obviously a height issue. So I just want to take a moment to share the heart of the book, which is what I said, where people will see themselves as a masterpiece. And please don't give me bad points for any amazing drawing or painting or what have you. But my heart is that, like what you see here, is what I see as a masterpiece. There's nothing like what you're looking at. Hopefully, you're looking at yourself. Very unique, very special. And you have to remember, even if you're going through tough times, and we can talk about mental wellness and stuff, the world will miss out if you don't live your masterpiece. Not just the good, your bad crap that you've gone through helps put spice into the dish that shapes you, that's unique. So that's the unveiling. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. So with that was my quick update. I'll hand it back to Cassie, and I hope you have a great night.